Many people believe that financial independence and an early retirement is attainable by only a few lucky individuals. However, J.L. Collins shows that this is far from the truth, as financial independence can be attained by anyone as long as they follow a few sets of rules. In his book, The Simple Path to Wealth, he describes these rules and shows how anyone can achieve financial independence if they so wish. Do you want to pursue that hobby further without a need for stress about your personal finances? Or do you want to just retire early and enjoy what life has to offer? Stay tuned to find out. The significance of financial independence. Financial independence does not mean you have to retire early. You may do so if you wish, as there are many people that are fulfilled by their jobs. But financial independence gives you options. Is your boss not treating you as nicely as before? Then take a break from the workforce whilst you look for a new one. Or, if you do not like the future for your career path, financial independence means that you are free to change to another one or dedicate yourself more to a hobby if you so wish. The dependence you have when you are bound to a salary for your living expenses causes many people to be stuck in a situation even if they do not wish to be in it. Thus, this is why financial independence can be for everyone, not only those wishing to retire early. So, how do I get started? J.L. Collins states the importance of paying off debt and saving. He explains that credit cards keep many people under debt and never allow them to achieve financial freedom. They are not a long-term solution to some problems. If you have debt with a more than 5% interest rate, pay it off immediately. Debt equal to or under the 5% interest rate can be paid off slower, although you want to pay this off when you can. This may seem hard, but once it is done, you will notice a lot of stress and financial burden will be gone. Debt is a dangerous tool. It can be both good and bad, so think carefully when you want to get yourself into it. So, I have taken care of my debt. What now? How do I become a millionaire? Well, the numbers tell us that, compounded over time, it actually requires very little money invested to grow to $1 million. Had you invested $12,000 in the S&P 500 stocks in 1975 with dividends reinvested, it would be a fair amount over $1 million today. But don't worry if you don't have $12,000 in spare cash right now, as putting in $130 since 1975 would have also yielded the same result. As you can see, this is amazing considering all the financial crises and turmoil that have happened over the last years. This shows that with time and a consistent investment basis, anyone can reach it. Do you not want to wait as long, and do you have the financial capacity to invest more each month? Then the period you will have till financial dependence will be greatly reduced. So, spend less than you earn, invest the surplus, avoid debt. How do I invest this surplus money then? C.J. Collins explains that individual companies and stock picking is something that should be left to people such as Warren Buffett, that dedicate their lives to this and are exceptionally good at it. However, for the great majority of us, it will be index funds, in particular some such as VTSAX, Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, and VTIAX, Vanguard Total International Stock Index Fund. These indexes can be found on the Vanguard platform, which Jack Bogle created along with the first index fund. His aim was to simplify investing for everyday people, such as you and me. Index funds are a collection of many different stocks which are put into a group, and you can own all these businesses without the need of large amounts of money. Index funds are extremely diversified and keep it as simple as possible for all different kinds of investors. VTSAX and VTIAX are great because they cover many different businesses and sectors and do not require some of the stress and insight that comes with individual stock picking. However, some platforms or countries may not have access to these, but do not worry, as there are a wide variety of index funds. Just make sure that they have low expense ratios and are similar to VTSAX and VTIAX. Stock index investing will be very useful in the wealth accumulation stage of life, when you are trying to increase the total amount of wealth you have through working, saving, and adding money to your investments. Stocks offer greater returns, but they are more volatile. When you are in your wealth preservation stage of life, a larger amount of your wealth will be transferred into bonds, more specifically, VBTOX. Bonds offer less volatility at the expense of less growth of your wealth. Finding the balance between these two assets is essentially up to you. Make sure that when you commence, 100% will be into stock indexes as you are trying to amass wealth. Remember that the closer you plan to get to retirement, the more you will have to allocate to bonds in order to preserve this wealth. The 4% rule. The 4% rule is a rule of thumb that is used by many investors to decide on a yearly withdrawal amount that would allow their investments to cover their expenses for the rest of their retirement. This was studied by 3 finance professors in Trinity University and became known as the Trinity study. So, if your yearly expenses amount to $40,000, then these would be covered by a total $1 million invested on a 4% withdrawal. Thus, if your yearly expenses are less or more than this, then you would need a different total amount invested to be financially independent. Tracking your expenses will greatly help with knowing what this expense number may be and can also help with reducing costs, as this helps show where exactly your money is going. Cutting down on some of the unneeded expenses will really help achieving this. Why this method? Apart from how simple and effective it is, individual stock picking is not for everyone. All that is required is steady investments into these stock groups, then eventually distributing it to bonds the nearer you get to retirement. Just remember that the simple methods are not necessarily always the least efficient. Also remember that crashes are not the end of the world, as you will still own the businesses that you have bought, and they will recover in a shorter period than you might expect. Staying calm and forgetting about it is the key. Thank you for watching. If you found this interesting and want to read into it further, J.O. Collins has a blog in which he explains exactly how he achieved his financial independence. You can find it below in the description. What would you do with your financial independence? Comment it down below. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out immensely, and you'll know when a new video is uploaded. Once again, thank you for watching. I hope you took something valuable away from the video. Until next time.